Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is NWA Powerr Lightning in a Bottle review show. We are fresh off our interview with the lovely Kenzie Page. When I say we, for those of you that are not watching on YouTube, I am joined as always by my NWA ride or die, Miss Fiona Lochran. Good evening.
Hello, darling. Are you all right?
I am. I'm. From the sounds of it, I'm not as. I'm sorry. The weather isn't as bad down here as it is over there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit soggy. I was out earlier, so
Soggy Fiona. That's not good to hear.
not a
That's
pretty picture to paint.
um, so last night we finished off with Kenzie Page and that interview. Would it be out by the time this goes out? Possibly, I can't remember. I think so. If not, Kenzie Page's interview will be dropping. But last night after we finished with Kenzie Page, NWA announced that during the NWA 76 taping that they're doing next, is it next?
Live event
Live, is it this weekend or next weekend?
next
Next weekend, right?
weekend,
God almighty.
31st.
So many pay-per-views going on this the next couple of days. Yeah, next weekend that Billy Corgan is going to be announcing the next steps, basically.
An exciting announcement, I think is what they called it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. Listen, we've grown up with TNA and AEW. We see these major announcements quite a lot in wrestling.
Was that an exciting announcement about the future of NWA? I think is what the post said.
Yeah, and judging by the fact that they are signing these exclusivity deals that we've been seeing, and that basically means they can't appear on telly on any other wrestling event. They can do the independents, but they
Yeah.
can't appear on any other programming other than NWA. Are we assuming at this point that it is a new TV deal?
I think it's safe to say that it's got something to do with TV or streaming or something, given that's the case. What that could be is anyone's guess. There's a speculation about, I've seen in the chat rooms and on Discord and things, various things getting thrown about. I know there's been a lot of chat of folk going, oh, I really hope they're going back to YouTube and things. I doubt it's YouTube
No.
because YouTube's not it's not making them any money. And we were just talking off air. Obviously, Billy Corgan's Adventures in Carneyland is now available on Amazon and Apple TV.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering maybe if it's something to do with that. Um, However, if it's another CW deal, the rest of the world are screwed again. So I am just hoping and praying that whatever it is making it accessible to an international audience because how are you supposed to grow your brand if you're not?
Yeah, exactly that. We did touch on that with Kenzie, and she was hoping that they were going to have a bit of an international, to be watch it internationally again. And I hope it is. I hope it's something that, where it is a little bit more easy for us. Or could it be, I don't know, because we kind of mentioned that these pay-per-views are now stringing over a load of weeks. Are they going back to that format for a bit? I don't know. I mean,
I would love that.
me too.
I would absolutely love that. Although I don't think the buys for their pay-per-view were maybe great,
Yeah, true.
which meant it was probably a lot of money going out for very little, if any, return.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely convinced about that, although I would love to see that day return. I missed the live events, so
Yeah, me too. I missed, as you say, you missed the whole popcorn chocolate kind
it
of thing.
was that's the thing, and we were
Yeah.
talking about it. It was a whole night for us. Like, okay, it didn't start till 1 a.m. for us in the UK and later in Europe or whatever.
Mm.
But you would go, well, me personally, because I'm getting old, I would go for a little power nap and then I get back up and I'd have gone to the shops earlier in that day and bought my snacks and pizza and chocolate and drinks and stuff and pulled the sofa bed out and made a bed up and I would have made a total night of it. And the summertime ones, it would be light when and then it would get dark and then you go back to bed and the sun would be up again. And I loved that whole that's a big part of my wrestling viewing, like the whole pay-per-view and making a night
Yeah.
of it. It was like it's a it's like a special event, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was something to look forward to. Like, oh, there's a pay-per-view in 2 weeks, excellent. And you had something to look forward to. I would love to see those days back.
Tell you what we should do, perhaps, if they do bring them back again, we should do live stream of one of them, maybe.
That could be fun. I've never
Yeah.
done a live stream for a pay-per-view before. Part of me is a little bit wary about it
Mm.
because we'd be talking and maybe missing stuff. And
Yeah.
a lot of people do live streams and it's great, but I'm very much, I don't want to miss anything. So,
Yeah, we'd have to think about it. Anyway, we haven't got to worry about that for the foreseeable.
nah, that's a
Anyway,
long way off if it
It-
even happens anyway. So,
exactly that. Let's get on to. I'll just say a big thanks to Kenzie Page as well for the interview. It
oh,
was.
what a gem.
Do
What
you
an
know?
absolute champ.
I
Quite
was talking.
literally a champion.
Yeah, well, she is a champion, yeah, and could be Kenzie two belts, like we mentioned. We'll get into that in a minute. I, I think the word, and it's kind of apt for her. The whole of that podcast was empowered. Because
Mm,
if you look at what she's done, and she made the big point of saying female. She's a 22-year-old woman that's doing this work.
yeah,
And when you look at that, and I don't think she really knows just how much of a inspiration that she could be, or even is, and not know to the next generation of
yeah.
women that are growing up in this world.
And potentially even women older than her who are already making their first steps into the wrestling
Mm,
industry, they're potentially looking at her, even though she's younger than them,
yeah.
going, I want that.
Exactly. Yeah, she was great. Kylie will be coming up soon. I'll let you know off air about that. But yes, she will be. We will be interviewing Kylie soon as well. Anyway, let's get on with Powerr. That's what we're here for. The hype as ever. It was always great. The cold open. This was around the main event surrounding Joe. I was going to say Joe Cazana. That was KC Cazana from Joe Cazana Promotions getting his opportunity at the £10 of gold against EC3. And it took me back to the podcast that we done with him because he was saying
Hmm.
how he wanted to go against EC3 for the title.
Yeah,
But it was a really great opening into that. But it led us straight into a fatal four-way.
for the
Uh,
junior heavyweight championship.
it did. Joe Alonso, Soda Pop, Eric Smalls, and Rolando. Um, Fast-paced this. It kicked off really quick. I like it when it kicks off fast-paced, especially when it's the first match. I always
Yeah, it
that
kind of sets you up for the rest of the
Mm,
show, doesn't it? It's
yeah, it does. And I do think sometimes when it doesn't start off with a quick match like a Colby Carino, sometimes it takes you a bit longer to get into it. Even though it's only an hour, you need that. I still think I need that bang to get my brain straight into it. And this is exactly what you needed, this match.
yeah, and it kicked off with Rolando and Smalls, obviously.
Yes.
They've
Yeah,
got a little bit of a animosity between the two of them, so it kicked off with the two of them straight from the offset.
it
But
did.
for me, it was really, really good to see Soda Pop back
Yes.
in an NWA ring. I had the pleasure of watching him at TSW, Texas Style Wrestling, when I was out in Dallas last year, not this year,
Yeah.
last year. He is from the Dog Pound Dojo, so he's one of Road Dogg and Jazz's proteges, let's just say.
Mm,
And he's so good. He's so good. I hope to see more of him in the ring.
he was. And I keep mentioning the Kenzie Page thing, Miss Jazz.
Miss Jazz,
We
of
have to Miss
course.
Jazz. We have to call it. Yeah, that was great. He did do smalls in the balls as well in that. But the end, I love the ending, how the Joey countered the Spinneroonie into the Joey special.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Now, what we do know, and we have said this before, is we know Joe Alonso is not anymore the NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. We know that Alex Taylor is, but obviously this was recorded prior, of course, to any of those changes happening. And that's kind of where it is a bit of a thing with the NWA, isn't it?
Yeah, little spoilers and stuff.
Mm.
It's a little bit disjointed and the continuity's not really there,
Yeah,
which is a little bit disappointing because that's a match that if I didn't know already, I'd have been like, okay, Soda Pop's maybe got a chance here. Smalls. I I I could see Smalls with that championship, to be honest
really
with you. Yeah, I could.
interesting.
Um, so I think knowing the result before you went into it takes the
Mm.
shine and the excitement off of it a little bit.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, because we knew that we knew that Joe Alonso was going to win the match.
Yeah.
That was never going to be an argument in there. It was just impressive of how he was going to win. And I did like the finish, but we do know eventually, I don't know when it's going to happen on NWA. And it wasn't even on an NWA Power taping. It was like a house show, wasn't it? Or like an
Hmm.
indie show, right? When that.
I can't remember where, but obviously we know who the new junior heavyweight champion is. I just hope we get to see that before 76 years, whenever 76 is going to air.
Yeah, they haven't got a junior heavyweight championship on there yet, have they?
Not yet.
Not
They haven't
yet,
announced a
no.
lot of matches though, to be honest.
That's quite a few.
Well, there's a few, but I still think there's quite
Six.
a lot to go.
Yeah, well, they got 4 weeks of tapings to near enough to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
I'm
12
yeah,
at
who
least
knows?
minimum. But yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out when that happens very, very soon, for sure. Coming up next, which was the match that I wanted to see because he was on the podcast. Anthony
Both of
Catena.
them have been on the
Well, both
podcast.
of them. I was going to get to our good buddy Jax, but Anthony Catena wasn't. So he'd been on the podcast. He was a great guy. I said to you yesterday to keep an eye out for his pants. What do you think of those?
Interesting. Why had Dusty and Harley on them was Harley, wasn't it?
It was
Dusty and
Dusty
Harley.
and him. I thought it was-
Yeah, no, there was someone underneath Dusty that I thought was
Oh, right.
Harley.
Might have
So
been.
yeah, and then the big NWA across the front. I mean, it's one way to get noticed. They are certainly something.
Would that be one that would grace the locker room?
Ah, I doubt
Not
it.
an NWA merchandise that Fiona will be buying. Definitely stood out. The match wasn't massive. It was Billy on comms for this.
Billy was on and off last
Yeah,
night,
he was,
but
wasn't
he
he?
was on for this one. But Anthony obviously had Chris Silvio in his corner,
He did.
and Jack Stane had Baron in his corner, looking very menacing like a Sith Lord on the outside with that
He
robot.
he was very you just you don't want to say anything to him nowadays. Now he's on the outside of the round. I think Silvio got anywhere near him.
No, sensible Silvio, I think, for
Very
once in his
sensible.
life.
It was a sensible Silvio during this. I did like it. It wasn't very long, the match itself. It didn't go too long. We
Mm-mm.
did, Katina did showcase a lot of what he can do, and it's made me want to see him again, which is
Mhm.
a good thing. But ultimately, when you go to Trap City, you
It's
don't
over.
normally, yeah, you don't normally come out of that without having to tap out.
Mm-mm.
And that's what happened. But overall, what did you make of Katina?
It's the first time I've really seen him. I thought he
Hmm.
was pretty decent. I'm not entirely sure Jax was maybe the right opponent to showcase him.
True. Yeah.
But he definitely gave Jax a good run for his money. Like he managed a tornado DDT on Jax at one point in the match. But obviously Jax is a veteran, and kind of just cleaned the floor with him in the end.
Hmm.
But I think Katina could be a contender for some really, really good matches on the roster if he hangs around.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to see him again. Definitely would like to see him in. Who would you have put him in there with?
That's a really good question. I think maybe I'd quite like to see him with Colby.
Yeah, good shout.
I think him and Tom could probably have a
I
good
was gonna.
match as well.
That's what I was. That's the person I was going to say. Latimer.
Hard to tell. I mean, I know how Tom tall is. Hard to tell how tall Katina is just from
Mm.
watching that match, but I think him and Tom would be quite evenly matched. So that would definitely be one worth a watch if it ever comes around, I think.
Yeah, I would have
I
said.
think Colby would be an interesting opponent for him.
Yeah, Colby would have worked really, really well. Actually, I would have liked that. I agree with the Tom Latimer one. I think he would have been a great one. I'm just trying to find the height of Katina now
But
because
as long as Katina doesn't take Tom's belt, that's all.
6'4", Katina.
My God, he's quite tall then,
So
yeah.
he would be interesting. Assuming 6'4".
Okay.
Uh, quite a big guy. Yeah.
Change your tights, man.
What's that?
Change your tights, man.
Well, I'd like to see a different version. I'd like to see, not, these mad tights, as long as they, as you said, they're not going to grace the locker room anytime soon. But I'd like to see a bit more. Well, like it's something different. That's
It is, it is. And let's be honest, we're used to Joe Alonso having his face on his tights. So
there you go. It's Katina done it this time, but
was it Rick Rude that used to wear?
yeah,
Oh
Rick Rude used to
yeah.
wear the girlfriend or the wives of the other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pavement. Yeah, I love that. I think that was great. He hasn't quite got the Rick Rude physique, though, to be fair. I mean, that's not nothing again. He's got better physique than me. But, Rick Rude was a chiseled, bloody, well, he was just chiseled. Now, there was a couple of interviews next. Our good friends, the Page sisters, are on as well. Now, we had this running joke yesterday about me pronouncing a certain opponent coming up, but we'll get to that in a minute. The Page sisters are going after tag team gold. We mentioned the word Kenzie two belts. On the podcast yesterday with Kenzie. So she is now going to be teaming with Kylie. Next week, they're going against Rekka and Tiffany in a
Becca
tag.
who?
Yeah, I can't remember. Tahara, I don't know.
Becca to Haka.
Thank you. Tahaga. Sorry, Rekka. I'm no good with names. Seriously, I'm no good with names. They're going against them next week in a tag team match. Basically, well, again, could be Kenzie two girls.
Yeah, so it's not a number one contenders match, is it?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't got that written
No, okay. But yeah,
down.
Tiffany Nieves and Rekka are becoming quite a formidable tag team, let's be honest.
Yeah,
They seem to be gelling quite well, the two of them together. I'm looking forward to seeing Kylie and Kenzie in action together. Obviously, we spoke about this in the podcast. They're sisters, they know each other so well, they know each other's strengths and everything. I think um I think that'll be a good one. But it was also nice as well just to hear them promote KFW
yeah, yeah,
as well about Crossfire and what's coming up for them as well. I think Kenzie's promos, and I saw someone make a comment on Discord today about it, and I couldn't agree more. Kenzie's promos are getting better and stronger every single time you see her. And
yeah.
she's now gone from, and this is me taking, I can't remember, so I can't even give the person credit for it, but I completely agree with them. She's gone from kind of like young, not a naive girl or anything, but just like a young girl hungry to almost like Camille levels of ferocity and
Yeah.
sureness about herself,
Mm.
which I love. I love to see that. She's so confident and so this is mine, this is what I'm going to do. Like it's so good to see.
I've kind of said it's gone from like mean girl to dominant girl
Mm,
in a way, but she's still got that meanness about her for sure. But there is that, as you say, there is that kind of level of yeah, the promos need to be believable, right?
yeah,
You need to sit there and go, yeah, she's going to tear your fucking head off.
yeah.
And I
And you
think,
you do believe that with her when she's in full mode.
yeah, it's like she's the champion, and when she talks about what she's going to do, you sit there, and go, yeah,
I
you
can see
are
you
going to do
doing
it.
that.
Yeah, you're going to do that, and we touched on that with her, but yeah, she's what I would say, and I don't want to pull the curtain back too much, is the Kenzie we got felt like she was so humble and I don't know the word. I wouldn't say naive or shy about her. Do you know what I mean? It felt there was sub bits there where she was snapping into the Kenzie that we see on TV,
Hmm.
but then she kind of pulled back and we saw the Kenzie away from the TV, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess that's part of doing a podcast, though. It's maybe
Yeah.
quite hard, particularly with the questions that you're talking, the
Yeah.
things that you're discussing. You kind of have to slip in and out between the two kind of personas, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely so. But anyway, they got their number one contenders match next. Well, not one contender, but they got a match next week. And then after that, I would say there was a lot of breaks on NWA this week. But I will say, all on my stream anyway. I don't know about yours, Fee. They, at least they were positioned in a better
I
place.
know none of the adverts happened in the middle of a match. I was like, thank you. Somebody has answered my prayers. Somebody has listened to me somewhere, whoever it was. Thank you. Or it was just fluke and it's back to normal next week.
Where we'll find that next week if where it was. But they were positioned in a lot better. So we did have some commercial breaks, but we then got to Rekka and Tiffany, who were then saying they were the future of the division. And I've got the ending written down. Get it, got it, Uma. That was something along those lines. Anyway, and not as daunting as when Rekka said it. for sure.
Quite intimidating, isn't she?
She's got to be 6 foot odd, isn't she? Surely.
She's tall. I think she's about 6'2", 6'3".
I
She's
remember what you said something about Rio that she scares the shit out of you. Rio.
Real does scare the shit out of
And
me. Like I
I,
love watching her wrestle, but if I'm in the ring and I'm emceeing and I'm announcing her, I'm like, oh, she's coming. I'm like, oh no, please be nice to me.
I get the same feeling about Rekka because
Yeah.
she could like whoop our asses. Like she's very intimidating and she comes across that way. And when she even when she just went Umar or whatever she said on Power, it cut me like Jesus, like, all right, kind of thing. But very good. And again, it sets it up quite nicely because the Page sisters are quite compared to Tiffany, and there was going to be a sizable height difference in here
Mm.
and a strength difference. So the Page sisters are going to need to use a bit of that.
And they've got plenty.
And you've got Miss Jazz in there, so to speak, now. And that's probably going to solve them well in the match next
Yeah.
week, for sure. But yeah, they're going to. The furthest someone of only slams. Are you any nearer to guessing who this person is?
I
No.
don't have a clue.
Would it be funny if it was someone like Gags or Salvation or somebody? I don't think it is because I think they're a lot more. That these ones are a lot more. No disrespect to those that built, shall we say? But I've got to, you
It
said
doesn't
Birchill,
ring
right?
a bell. You're gonna have this naked person then with a gimp mask on at the top.
Uh, that's Fiona's weekend, everybody, not mine.
Oh, oh no.
But no, I can't imagine it. I don't know who it is. It could even be someone from the territories, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It
Right?
could be anybody. So
So we
I
know.
reckon maybe by 76 we'll know.
By the time we see 76
Oh yeah, yeah. Unless they appear at yeah, well, I reckon they might appear at
so
76.
we'll see him at Christmas.
Pretty much.
Let's hope
A
not.
Christmas gift to you.
This is the guy that's on Only Slams. Wow. Okay. What a treat that's going to be. Pull the cracker, and you see Only Slams. That'll be. I tell you what they should do, and I'll buy it for you if they did. So Poyo or anyone working in deals, working in the marketing, get an Only Slams calendar, and I will buy it and send it to Fiona. So she's got a
Um,
desk calendar of the Only Slams model. Don't have to see who it is, but we just the pictures. Anyway, there you go. That'd be something for you to look forward to. But Deals, if you're listening, that's the proposition, my friend.
Not really
Only
sure what I think about that, to be honest with you.
well, if they want to, when they may only get one buy, which will be me to you. It'd be like my
I'll
secret
re-gift
Santa,
it back to you in the new year.
secret Santa present, and then it'll be yeah. But yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, Only Slam still none the wiser. Don't know who it is.
Don't know who
Anyway,
it is. Don't really know what it's all about.
hopefully we find out soon because it is getting.
Been like 4 weeks now, maybe longer.
That's what I mean. Maybe they do 12 weeks. It's a calendar.
They're spinning it out here. They're really stringing it out. So
Well, we gone from cooking with Carson to Only Slams.
I know that kind of died a death, didn't it?
Well, it did, but if you know, when we get to it in a minute, Magic Jake makes a reference to it
He
in a bit.
does. He does.
But yeah, let's move on from Holy Slabs quickly. Baron was next. So we saw him earlier on with Jack Dane. Now he was taken on. I'd never seen Boz before. I don't recall ever seeing Boz. We didn't see him for very long.
We did not. It was a very quick match.
Very quick. I mean, I've written down aeroplane spin claw 1 2 3, and the music for the Baron is very military.
I quite like it.
I do. It's very catchy. I actually, you know what? I never knew what to expect from it when we first looked at it. I'm kind of digging it. This Baron stuff. I maybe
The
go on.
fans, though, I noticed the fans were very much on Boz's side last night, and every time Baron got Boz close to being in the claw, or got Boz in the because Boz was backed up in the corner
Yeah.
at the ring post at one point, the fans are booing Baron,
I don't know.
which is interesting.
Could just be the location of where it is, and maybe Boz
I,
was local. I can't remember
I
if
don't know. I really, really don't know.
but
Which is bizarre because everybody loves Tim Storm.
hmm.
Like everybody loved Tim Storm. No one that I know had a bad word to say about him. but Baron is a completely different human being.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously that claw that got locked in looked
Yeah.
pretty nasty last night. And
Yeah.
again, it takes Jax
Well,
to
and the robe.
and the robe, yeah. And the
The
robe to kind of get him to come back to his senses, so to speak, if he has got his senses at all.
makes makes you wonder what that robe is, the the whole story behind it and why the it's kind of soothes him. It's like a comfort blanket, right? Like you would put on
Yeah,
a
yeah.
baby.
And then they were talking about the gauntlet as well that he wears on
Mhm.
his right hand because I love the whole,
Yeah.
it's very Baron von Raschken.
Yeah.
I can never say that name right, so that's my
There
record
you
for
go.
you.
I probably
But
can't.
obviously he
If
always
you
starts
can't, what chance have I got?
obviously he always starts the match with his hand behind his back,
Yes.
but they were saying on comms about the gauntlet and how it's been strengthened to strengthen the claw grip and everything on him. So
Yeah. Definitely so. I'm digging it. I'm the more I see it, because we have seen Baron over a number of weeks now, and it's been quite refreshing because normally we go weeks without seeing him.
and the way they've done the tapings though, I believe that was the first match. Or was that the second match is Baron? Or the
Second is
first
Baron that we've
second
seen.
match is Baron? Yeah,
Mm,
that's right, because he's
yeah.
had one before. Yeah.
Wait, has he not had? Oh no, because it was the match with Markova when he turned, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
then they had a match art, and then he turned
Yeah.
into Baron. Yeah, but it's the second match that we've seen with Baron
Yeah.
installed.
So
But I'd like to see more. I'm
I
intrigued.
know I'm intrigued by it. I wonder where it will go or what they'll do. I was enjoying the very little that we saw of Jax and
Mm,
Tim,
yeah.
not Van and Jax and Tim as a tag team. And I was hoping that they would go for the US belts. It's the only championship that Jax, or the main championships that Jax hasn't had round his waist.
Mm,
So I was kind of hoping that as Jackson and Tim together, they might have had a run at the US Tag Team Championships. Um, so I don't know what's in store for the two of them now, or not the two of them, but Jackson Baron. So
well, let's wait and see. As you say, it's a case of watch this space again, right? That's kind of
that's like I should
the
be
motto.
NWA. Watch this space.
Yeah, there's a lot going on as well now. We've got the big announcement coming up next week as well, which we're going to have to try and find out what that is before. We can't go 12 weeks or whatever without knowing.
We will. There's no way they'll do. I cannot for one second believe that they will do a live signature live event or whatever. Are they SLEs or whatever they call them?
Don't know. Yeah.
Whatever they call them. I cannot imagine for one second that they will do that next week and not put it straight out on the socials.
Yeah, they've got to do something, haven't they? I mean, I don't care about knowing the results. I just care about knowing what the deal
Yeah.
is.
And that's one thing, actually, just touching on that. That's one thing NWA are generally very good at. When they do these live
Mm.
events, they don't post the results. And the fans, I have to give it to the fans because I very, very, very rarely see spoilers online.
Yeah, very,
And
very
the
rare.
NWA fans are superb at keeping their gobs shut, basically.
Very much. You have to trawl around to get it. If
Yeah, you do. Whereas for other promotions, you accidentally see them all the time, but you have to actually go looking for the NWA results after a
Mm.
live event, which I love because I don't go looking for them.
Yeah, like right now on X, I've just seen that Michael Oku's just debuted of AEW. So it's
There you go.
it
Oh,
was a
they're in
dark match.
Cardiff tonight.
Yeah, it was a dark match. It was a match before the show, but before obviously the live
Yeah,
dynamite or whatever. But boom, straight away,
there
like
you go. Well, that's it. So,
thanks. I,
yeah,
I wouldn't have seen it. I mean, I wouldn't have seen it anyway because it was a dark match. But the bottom line is, it's a prologue to him. He obviously is either signed or going to be signed, and
yeah.
you've seen it, before. So yeah,
I
NWA.
yeah, I do love that about NWA.
Me too. They do a good job at that, very much so. Well, speaking about Carson Drake's name being brought up, and that was because Magic Jake was with the kids and Kyle.
Good Magic Jake promo last night.
I liked it. I thought it was really good. He did say that he had a chef's hat. He mentioned Carson, and he was talking about chef's hat.
Yeah, because they've got a match with Carson Jake. The kids and Jake have got a match against Carson and the Slime Balls coming up.
Yes, next week, as for that matter, next week, kids, and that'd be interesting. Kids. So one of the kids is Crossfire. I got his name wrong yesterday. Surprise, surprise. Yesterday. So, but yeah, one of the kids is in KFW. Yep, they're in six-man action next week. And they was just saying about how Drake made a mistake, and I did see a lot of disconnect between the kids and Magic Jake.
Hmm.
They didn't feel like they.
I kind of feel like Magic Jake just hasn't quite found the right tag team partner yet. I
Maybe.
like watching him in singles action, but for tag team, he's just not quite found his the yin to his yang,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, exactly that. Um, yeah, I think so. And who was he with before?
It was Magic Jake, and that's terrible. I'm having a mental block now.
I had a mental block as well. I can't remember who his partner was.
Well, no, because he's had several.
Yeah,
It's never really been a a continuous kind of tag team.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
kind of just been with. So for 76, it's been announced it's Magic Jake and Zion, for example,
Yeah.
against Baron von Storm and
And
Jax.
Jax, yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't Zion before.
I need to find it.
I can't believe I'm so sorry, Jake. But
Cody James, the Barker.
he did that shit. Oh, it was CJ and
Yeah,
Barker. Where's
yeah.
CJ, by the way? Where's she disappeared to?
She's dropped. She's gone back to Brazil or what? What's going on with her?
I don't know. But see, that's right. CJ Barker and Jake together.
Jake.
That's right. And
So
Barker's
next,
just kind of disappeared as well. So
what's happened to them? They've not signed. Well, they've not signed any deals anyway. We know that because we're getting drip fed the signings that NWA have made, and they're not one of them. Either, well, two of them are not there. So we'll see.
CJ was, I don't know if she still is, but she was the women's TSW champion.
Okay,
So I don't know if she still is though.
we'll have to see. But I don't know that she is, but we'll get there. But next week, as we said, six-person tag, six-man tag, Magic Jake and the Kids, Sly and Balls, and Carson Drake at main event time. EC3 against KC Cazana for the £10 of gold. I got this down. I read this down as a proving ground match for Casey, and kind of like I don't want to say coming out match. That's not the right word. But it's definitely the one that's made people, I think, stand up and and sort of take notice of Casey Cazana.
And he's so young as
Yeah,
well. He's
he
only what,
is.
20?
Oh, he's
He's 21 or
early
24.
20s, right?
Yeah, early 20s. So he's so young. And he got some good offensive in against EC3 last night.
Yeah, he
There was
did.
another tornado DDT. So there was quite a few tornado DDTs in various matches last night, but he got that in for a start, which
Yeah.
caused EC3 to roll out the ring and kind of have to regroup, which you
Yeah.
don't see often from EC3.
No, you don't at all. It was really competitive. You could even argue maybe too competitive.
It was more evenly matched than I
Hmm.
anticipated.
I was kind of expecting EC3 not to win it easily, but to convincingly, should I say, ish. But I felt as if it was, yeah, maybe even slightly too competitive, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe it's a bold statement or a controversial one. I just think sometimes champions, and it's not even NWA, sometimes they're not booked as strong as what they should be. And I just felt that EC3 looked maybe too weak in that particular match. Maybe it's just me.
Maybe he just underestimated KC.
Maybe, maybe you may be right.
Maybe
Even
KC's better than we're giving him credit for.
that could very much be the case. Very
We're
well
so
be the case.
used to seeing him with AJ as a tag team that we haven't really seen him sing as a single wrestler before.
Yeah, you're not used to it, are you? And sometimes being in a tag team for so long, you don't see them because you get to see them briefly in tags, and it's always tag in, tag out. Maybe he's the one that takes the brunt of the punishment, hits the hot tag to AJ, and so on and so forth. So maybe it's that, and maybe they're right. Maybe there's an underestimate. Maybe even I underestimated KC Cazana in this. Who knows? Nevertheless, the 1% he did go for the high cross body. He missed 1% from EC3, hit the 1-2-3. But I put at the end of it, respect earned in
Absolutely, without a doubt.
certainly did. Just to make aware, though, anyone this Saturday, if you're not attending any wrestling events, the thousands that are this weekend over here in the UK, or be it in America as well, at 6:05 Eastern, if so 11:05 UK time, if you head over to the NWA's YouTube, you will find Exodus Pro Wrestling event, which will be streamed live, which will
I
have
will be watching that.
there. I'm glad you are, because you can tell me what happens.
I will be
Um,
watching that.
that will
Definitely.
be live, and that will be headlined by EC3 versus Richard Holiday for the end for the 10 Pentacle. That will be headlining Exodus Pro. So Fee, I'll be expecting a results from you, please. Thank
A
you.
little debrief when I can.
A little debrief. Thank you very much. We'll get into next week's now. So we've already mentioned the Page sisters against Rekka and Neves. We already mentioned Magic Jake and the kids versus Slime Balls and Carson Drake. Ella Envy and Mr. Kate, interesting one next week. We know Mr. Kate's no longer with the NWA.
Yeah.
We
I
thought the
know,
last
I
one,
actually thought we'd seen the last over, so
so clearly not. And
with
also,
Star and Ella's Corner, potentially a little bit of shenanigans going on, I imagine.
oh, the It Girls, right? That's what they are, apparently. The It Girls will be looking to make a name for themselves again next week. And then an interesting one, because we just sort of mentioned about KC Cazana going it alone. AJ Kazana will be gracing us on NWA next week. Funny story about AJ. He's actually coming over here to the UK in November. Trying to get him booked. I'm not sure if we can get him on the show, but no, I'm going to give this. I want to read this to you word for word. He put uh, in studio podcast in November question mark, and I was like, I don't have a studio.
You can come to
House.
my house for a cup of mate.
Yeah, yeah. He said we can do it anywhere in a park or something. I was like in the middle of November, AJ.
Yeah,
But
right. I
yeah,
did say, like, at the time when he was talking about coming over, we were chatting, and he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking, maybe November." I was like, "It's cold." He's like, "Oh, I could come in the summer instead." As well, it's still cold
yeah,
if you come to Scotland. I'm not can't speak for you, but
yeah.
yeah, I think he's, I think he's in for a fight, but that would be cool. I would try and come down for that, whenever that is, and I'm definitely going to try and catch up with him when he's here.
Yeah, we're trying. It's a difficult one on November on Ignite, 'cause we kind of is kind of already.
The timing's a little bit off for the
Mm,
shows that I've got in November as well. I think he leaves, and then 2 days later I have a show, and it would have been so cool. I would have loved to MC a show with him on it.
yeah, it's just a case of at the moment is we kind of got November near enough locked, and it's trying to find somewhere. But I have mentioned to Chris at Ignite uh, the Page sisters, and I said don't care,
If they're over, get them booked.
and we're on the show.
And we've got the Southern Six coming over to the UK in January as well.
Again,
Which
yeah,
is
and it's such a shame.
exciting.
I don't have a show, but I want to try and catch them. I need to see where these guys are at. 'Cause I know AJ's got quite. I think he's near enough over halfway booked for the tour
Nice.
already. So that's really good to see. I want to try and find out where he is because
Yeah.
obviously, I want to set up an in-person pod. Would be great. He's welcome to come in the house if he wants. I don't know, but we can sort it out either way. I can even rent a studio to do it. I don't know. We'll,
If
we'll think of something.
any of you watching or listening run promotions or no promoters that want the Southern Six or AJ or indeed any of the other NWA talent who are potentially looking at coming over, get in touch with Gary Ward.
Yes, get in touch with Mr. Ward. He is the man that holds the code, or shall we say, to get these guys over here on shows. I say AJ is already being really, really booked up, which is great to see as well. Because
Yeah,
we sort of say that the NWA and the reach over here internationally, and to hear the fact that AJ's halfway to or over halfway booked already
yeah.
is a great, great thing for us. So we're happy for that. Hopefully, we will definitely get to see him in November, no matter what. We look forward to seeing him. But as I was going to say, Fee, he's in action next week, but in a mixed tag team with Taylor Rising against Looks That Kill. Markova and
Interesting
Idol.
combination. We haven't seen Taylor for quite some time now.
We haven't seen Idol either for a while.
This is true. This is
Markova, well,
true.
because and AJ.
Yeah, no, in fact, all four of them and just the way the tapings have worked and everything, it has been a while.
Yeah, so another 4 match card next week, which is interesting.
Bit of an action-packed hour.
Yeah, it's like this week was action packed as well. But
Yeah.
it was fun. It was good. Another solid week of NWA action as we move closer to NWA 76 next weekend over in the 2300 arena in Philly. We will be, well, we won't be watching it, but we will be waiting with bated breath to be able to watch it
I
in
just hope we're not waiting till like, I don't know,
December.
before it. I don't think it'll be that late, but I reckon probably, well, I don't know.
We still got territories yet.
That'd be like 4 weeks. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But that's, that you're pushing October,
God, it's nearly, yeah, it's the end of,
nearly
yeah. Well, I
September.
think it'll be October, sometime in October, I think we'll see 76.
Wouldn't it be good if, for example, they taped NWA 76 this next weekend, and we have next week's Power, then we have the 3 or 4 weeks of territories, and then they do 76.
And a winner.
No, no, as in they do 4 weeks like we
Well,
have.
that's what I wonder if that's what will happen.
I don't know. I
Because they're
hope so.
back to, then they've got Samhain in October.
Oh, God,
So
yeah,
they've got Samhain in October. They're going back to Dothan, Alabama as well. So
yeah.
that's organized. And they are going, no, I suppose I think it's just Samhain and Dothan that they've got
Mhm.
booked. I don't think they've got, are they going back? I was going to say they're going back to Florida, but they're not because that's where Samhain is.
Right. Okay.
So they've got another two big live events, which is technically another 8 weeks worth of shows, really, I think.
Yeah.
Potentially 6 to 8 weeks worth of shows,
Damn, that's a lot before.
which will take you up to Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
God, that's
Exactly.
depressing.
That's mad, isn't it? We need to see 76 before Christmas.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we will leave it there for NWA for another week. It's always been a pleasure talking some NWA with you. Yes, Kylie Page is coming up. We had a few issues this week recording with Kylie. That will be resolved very, very soon. And but thanks to Kenzie for stepping in. That will be, if it's not out already, by the time this goes out, it will be very soon. So keep your eyes peeled on that as well. Shall we do this again next week, Fee?
Let's do it next week, darling.
Let's do it next week. This has been the NWA Power Review on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. She has been the wonderful Miss Fiona Loughran. I have been Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Goodbye.